Hello everyone, in this video I will tell you how to make an interactable NPC with responses and callbacks. First we need to make a UI for our NPC's dialogue. I'm adding a frame that will hold the name and the dialogue. The name will be called NPC name and the dialogue will be called NPC dialogue. Then I add another frame and set it to the side of the main frame. Add a UI list layout and an example button to it. I want at most 5 responses and I want them to add up to be the same size as the frame. Here's how to calculate. First get the height of the frame, which in this case is 200. Then subtract the padding times the amount you want minus 1, which for us is 5 for the padding and 4 for the amount. After that you divide it by how much you want, so 180 divided by 5 equals 36. In the end you get the perfect size for the UI. It is time to actually add the NPC character in. We will add a module script that has all of the interactions for our NPC. The first thing we add to the table is the text that the NPC will respond with. Then we list out the possible responses that we could give, which would be an array of tables. We add a response title, which is what our button text would be. Then we add NPC response, which is the text that the NPC responds with. Then we add more possible responses, which is the exact same thing as the original possible responses. Make sure they are the same or they won't work. Here I'm adding a simple response, I'm good or I'm not good, but you can have different texts with different amounts of responses. I'm adding another response, however this one will be different in a way. Instead of normal text I have a function. In the function we will do some things that will decide what the NPC will say. In this example, we have a random number and if the number is over or equal to 50, we will return the text saying that we have enough money. If we don't, then we return the text that says we don't have enough money. This is essentially the way that our callback works. We can also set the starting interaction to a function, as well as the possible responses to check if we should add responses or not. This works well with a shop, as you can send info to the server with a remote function and it can respond to us. I will add a new local script in our game GUI and also add a module script as a child of it named NPC Interactions Service. I copied the name and also started making a new class where new interaction will start a new interaction with passing the NPC character as NPC model. Onto our initiate function where we find the interaction module script from the NPC. If we don't find it, then we warn that it is not there and stop the function. Then we require the script and start the interaction, which we will make soon. We need to move our interaction frame and response button to the module script so it doesn't show all the time and so we can easily reuse it. We then pass the frame and button at the top of the script as well as the game GUI. Back to our start interaction function, we will clone the frame and parent it to the game GUI. We will also get the NPC dialog and name from before and set the dialog to the interaction from the NPC's module script. For the name we will just put it as the name of the model, but you could have something different like a display name using attributes or a string value. We will then add the dialog label and frame as values of our table so we can use it in other functions. Remember how some of our values are functions? We need to pass it throughout the function getInteractionItem so that if the type is a function we return the value of the function or just return it normally if it is not. Change the text so that it is being passed through the function first. We will now look through the possible responses. Remember to add the getInteractionItem because I forgot to myself. We are checking if there even is responses and that if it does we also check if it's just a blank table or not. For our addResponses function we pass in the array of tables and loop through them. For each one of them we create a new button. We set the parent of the button to the GUI's response frame from the start. We set the text of the button to the response title and the table. Now it's time to set up clicking the button. First we set the dialog text to be the NPC response from the interaction module. Then we look for more possible responses. If we do have more, then we add more responses for them, so we are basically just doing recursion. If we don't, we will wait a bit and destroy the GUI. I am making a constant value, that is the time before the GUI is destroyed, which in this case is 3 seconds. I'm wrapping destroying the GUI in a function, which you will see why later. Onto the parent local script. First we get the model. Then we require the interaction service. Make a proximity prompt in the model. When it gets triggered, we create a new interaction and initiate it. Let's test it out. It did not work because we never called the start interaction function in the initiate function. Let's test it out. As you can see, it works now. The responses work, but there is a problem that the previous options still are visible. To fix this, we need to make a new function that destroys the options so that we can just have the new ones after. Add the function before you add the new responses. Let's test it out. As you can see, it works now. And the response with the function format also works as well. However, this is the new problem. The player can interact with GUI again while he already has one open. To fix this, we are creating a function that sets the proximity prompt in the model. We can disable it at the start and enable it again at the end. Let's test it out. As you can see, it works now. You are basically done, but what if you have multiple NPCs? It gets harder to code that many, so we need to find an easier solution to this that only tweaks some things. Luckily for us, Roblox has something called the collection service. Tag the NPC with interactable NPC. For this second NPC, and making a different interaction sheet so that we can distinct each of them apart. Go back to the local script and we add collection service at the top. Instead of calling the NPC from the workspace, we can call all the NPCs with the tag. Then we look to see if it has a proximity prompt and start the interaction there. Now there is another problem. If we interact with one NPC, we can still interact with the other one. To fix this is easy, we just modify the setProximityPrompt function in the module script. Instead of setting our own model's proximity prompt, we set all the prompts with the NPCs. Let's test it out. As you can see, it works now. That is basically it for the video. For the question on whether it is a good way of doing this or not, that is probably not the best. However, I made this video because I couldn't find a good one on YouTube, so I figured I would make one myself. This is my first tutorial and my first video in a while, so I hope you enjoyed and ignored the small mistakes I made.